We're coming up on 6 o'clock. I'm going to go ahead and open the meeting. This is the regular meeting of the Granbury City Council, 6 p.m. on Tuesday, July the 1st, 2025. We're at Granbury City Hall, 116 West Bridge Street, Granbury, Texas, 76048. I'm going to ask if Mr. Kaufman will lead us in the invocation, then we will go to the pledges. Mr. Kaufman?
If you would, bow with me in prayer for a moment, and we'll just begin. So, Father God in heaven, we just come to you today thanking you for the many blessings that you've given our community, us individually as individuals, and how you just take care of our needs as a nation. Just thank you so much for the people that are here tonight and the interest they have in our community and how they're investing their time and their money to make it better. And we want to recognize our police officers in the back tonight that are standing against the wall, ready to take care of us in a moment's notice. And just thank you for all that they do as they respond to all kinds of crazy, the worst days that people have. And they walk them through that process, and they realize that they're not the problem, but they have a problem. And so we just thank you for that servant's heart that they bring to our community. Just ask that you bless them, protect them, watch over, protect them, and their families, Father. Just thank you for the opportunity for us all to serve our community. Give us wisdom as we make choices for the city tonight. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Under the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Mr. Kaufman. Thank you all for being here. And with that, we're going to move right into proclamations and presentation. And I believe Mr. Kaufman will
turn it over to Chief Galvan. I think we've got a very special occasion we want to recognize tonight. Thank you.
Mayor, City Council, Mr. Manager, thank you for giving me a short minute to recognize and congratulate one of our own, Deputy Chief Garrett Wigington, for his recent accomplishments. So I want to at this time ask for Garrett and his family to come on up to the front. Yeah. Sorry, you don't get that chance tonight.
He has more than a minute, too.
Okay, Council, on June 5th, the Deputy Chief Garrett Wigington graduated from the esteemed FBI National Academy. Internationally recognized for its academic excellence, the FBI's National Academy offers 10 weeks of advanced leadership classes, which provides coursework in intelligence theory, terrorism and terrorist mindsets, management science, law, behavioral science, law enforcement communications, forensic science, and fitness challenges. Candidates must demonstrate proven records as professionals within their agencies to even be considered for selection to this program, and Garrett certainly fit that bill. On average, graduates have served over 20 years in law enforcement and typically hold executive level positions after returning to their respective agencies. Since its inception in 1935, more than 56,000 public safety professionals have graduated the National Academy. The National Academy is currently held and hopefully will be forever at the FBI Academy in Quantico, Virginia, the same facility where new FBI agents and intelligence analysts receive their training and instruction. Garrett not only obtained credits towards his master's degree, but he also completed the Covenant Yellow Brick Road Challenge, which consists of 8 fitness challenges. The challenges are once a week, beginning in the second week and finishing the week before graduation. And funny enough, these challenges are named after the movie of the Wizard of Oz. It hits the Yellow Brick Road. They all stagger in difficulty, and they increase as the challenges go on. And I'm going to give you the names of these challenges that you'll find pretty entertaining. The first one is the 10-man trot, the Cyclone, not in Kansas anymore, We're Off to See the Wizard, the Winged Monkey Assault, the Wicked Witch, the Emerald City Mile, and last and not least, but the Yellow Brick Road. Now, the Yellow Brick Road, being the final test, is a grueling over 6 mile run through a hilly wooded trail obstacle course built by the U.S. Marines. It's the obstacle course that they run through on a daily basis, and personal experience, it's not an easy feat to accomplish. Along the way, the participants must climb over walls, run through creeks, jump over and through simulated windows, scale rock faces with ropes, crawl under barbed wire and muddy water, maneuver across a cargo net, and more. When and if the students complete this difficult test, they receive an actual yellow brick to memorize their achievement. And as expected, Deputy Chief Wigington came home with a yellow brick that is proudly being displayed in his office currently. Some agencies will tell their employees that they send to the National Academy that you better not come home without a yellow brick. If you don't, you probably won't have a job when you do. As expected, Deputy Chief came home with his yellow brick, and I want to congratulate him on this huge accomplishment that will be something he holds high in his list of accomplishments throughout his career and beyond. The biggest part of the Yellow Brick Road, not the Yellow Brick Road, but the National Academy itself, the hardest part is having to leave your family for almost 3 months. In those 3 months, you're basically living in a dorm. If you're lucky enough, it's just you on one side, or you might have a roommate and then suite mates on the other side. Just kind of depends on how it's set up. But you're there for almost 3 months. Family is on the phone and on FaceTime or any other way you can to spend a little time with them. But you're away from them for this entire time. And I could tell you that when I went, that was the hardest part of going to the National Academy, was being away from my family. And I know Garrett felt the same way while he was there. It's a tough 10 weeks, but the reward that you get for going and accomplishing it is invaluable throughout your career. The contacts that you make, not only nationally but internationally as well, he'll carry that with him through the end of his law enforcement career. So I just wanted to take this time and this opportunity to congratulate Deputy Chief Wigington for his accomplishment of graduating the National Academy and coming home to us with all that wisdom that he learned while he was there. So if you'll join me in congratulating. Would you like to say anything, Garrett?
Sure. Yeah. First, I would like to thank my wife. I don't think that our spouses get credit enough, but she was single parenting it the whole time that I was gone. So kids' sports and out mowing the yard and taking care of the house and everything else. So couldn't have done it without her support. I'd like to thank the chief. He obviously instilled in me and pushing me to apply and to go, and then signed off on covering a lot of my duties while I was gone for 10 weeks. Appreciate the city for also backing that and sending me. And then for the guys in the back, they picked up a lot of extra stuff that usually would be my responsibility. And my phone rang very little while I was there, and that's just to their credit that they took care of business and they managed everything in spite of my absence. So they might have realized that they don't even need me here. I'm not sure. So, but anyway, I'm very grateful. My family's very grateful for the opportunity. So thank you. Thank you.
Outstanding. Mr. Kaufman?
Well, I want to thank all the city team. It starts with the police, the street department, and the utility workers, the electric department, for what's going to happen this weekend, working with the Chamber of Commerce behind the scenes to provide the basic support that's required for an event of the size we're going to host this week. And so I want to acknowledge those folks and thank them for that in advance of what they're going to be doing. Some of them have already been preparing. There's barricades that have to be put out. There's no parking structures have to be put in. There's electricity that has to be set up so that the vendors can tie onto it safely. It has to be inspected by the inspection team. The food vendors have to be inspected by our inspection team. The police are heavy involved. Every police officer we have will be working this weekend, and the ladies in the office also support those guys as well. So thank you to all of y'all for what you're going to do. And then one last kind of a bitter note, we want to keep the Sorrell family in our prayers as he has experienced the loss of his 18-year-old daughter. I had a memorial service for her today, and that family is healing, so keep them in your prayers as they trudge through that grief. And I can only imagine, no, I can't imagine what they're going through. So 18 years old is way too young to be burying a child. So keep them in your prayers. And obviously, he's not here tonight, and neither is Ava because of the loss that they've suffered. So I'll end it with that. Any other comments from y'all is welcome.
Council? I think we can end it with that. Thanks, Chris. All right, let's go to public comments on agenda items. Ms. Scarlett, do we have anything on agenda items? I'll just not read that then. We'll go to the consent agenda, and all items on the consent agenda are routine or previously discussed and will be approved with one motion. However, should a member of the City Council wish to discuss any item, said item may be removed from the consent agenda and considered under the deliberation agenda. We have the approval of the council minutes, and we have a resolution approving the City of Granbury investment policy. And that's it for the consent agenda. Does anybody want to take anything off? Mr. Overdeer? Anybody have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Mr. Overdeer makes a motion.
Second.
Mr. Owen makes a second. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. That will pass 5-0, and we'll note that Councilman Rodriguez is traveling tonight and unable to be with us. Okay, moving to the deliberation agenda. Consider approving the interlocal agreement template, delegate authority to the city manager, and authorize the city manager to execute this agreement with current and future entities, subject to the express terms, connecting to the Granbury Regional Radio Network, GRRN, and consider adopting ordinance number 25-26, amending Articles 1.50, Section 1.50.800 of the City of the Granbury Code of Ordinances, Master Fee schedule to provide for the collection of fees for the Granbury Regional Radio Network. Mr. Kaufman.
Thank you, Mayor. Council, this item is a well-thought-out, well-developed item. We've been working on it for about four and a half months to try to put something together concise. And as you recall, the city put in the P25 compliant radio system a few years ago. We anticipated the cost for that, and our warranty ran out, and then so we needed to provide additional services. And so we've been working through this, and by the way, we've been operating on what we call a memorandum of understanding, and we've been working to go more towards an interlocal agreement to give it a better legal footing to stand on. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Deputy City Manager Michael Ross to go through the nuances of what y'all have worked through and what we're proposing tonight. And at the end of the day, we're hoping that we can adopt a template that will meet your needs as a council and also allow us to move forward efficiently with time when we're dealing with other governmental agencies, be able to take this to them and know that this is what you want and speak with authority and get the resolve that we need. I would like to remind the audience here tonight that we installed this radio system on the city's cost because of the public safety aspect of it, and also a requirement from the federal government to have adopted it and put it in place by 2015. So when we got it put together in 2023, we were a little behind times, but we saw the need to do it. And it has provided radio coverage throughout the entire county now that the county's joined us. And it also works inside the school system. So our radios, if a police officer needs to go in there, he can actually talk to dispatch or another police officer from inside that big building that's full of metal and all kinds of things that prevent normal radio traffic. So this is really an important tool that we've implemented. as we move forward dealing with the governmental agencies, we want to remind them that we're not asking anyone to pay for what we already bought. We're asking for ongoing maintenance costs to be shared among the partners. We're trying to approach this in a regional method. And so as we work with them, we want to recover exactly our cost and break even. And so we've done a lot of research and put this together. We also want the network to be secure from hacking and from bad actors accessing our radio system and taking down our communication during a crucial event. And so all that goes into this, and it's a very detailed plan. So I'll turn it over to Mr. Ross.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Council. As Chris said, we have been working on this for quite some time. We did realize that instead of a memorandum of understanding, that an interlocal agreement is the better document for us to use between governmental entities. We have been working on the interlocal agreement for a period of time, and during that time, it became we became aware that better protection of our network was needed, and so we've been adding those additional costs that you'll hear several times tonight. I've got a presentation, just a very brief one. Looks like it shows up a little differently. Just kind of how we got to where we are today, the post 9/11 world. Yeah. Things we learned coming out of that, obviously, were that first responders are unique. There's no single group responsible. You need partnership, leadership, and coordination. They experienced breakdowns everywhere during that event, and the goal coming out of it was interoperative communications. Let's see if this works. Which has been our goal in standing up the GRRN, is to develop an interoperative communication system between regional entities for our area. The city of Granbury spent initially $2.5 million, probably another $500,000 since then, standing up the Granbury Regional Radio Network. City and interested regional partners share costs, and we'll go into that more tonight. This is a list of current and potential partners that we hope join in later as well. You can see that it's state, federal, county, and other local agencies, as well as schools. The city of Granbury activated the GRRN. It hired an IT department technician as part of that process. This is where we initially wound up on the monthly costs per device for entities joining in. Mobile radio, $13, portable radio, $13, and so on for those different parts of the system. And this was to get to the number that we were paying overall for our 15-year maintenance agreement, as Chris said, and not that initial cost to the city. We learned, as I said, that we did not have and still do not yet have that adequate network protection. And so the item after this one tonight is for council to hopefully approve that additional network protection and response needed for us to operate the system. We also had a request for cost reevaluation to make sure that everything we're charging is proper. Again, we're not out to make a profit. We want to break even on our costs and only ask that others share in that cost to the amount that their share equals. This is added indirect costs that are part of the equation. We have a city radio technician here full-time. We believe 40%, and again, we've done this with L3 Harris and with Trout, our consultant, evaluating these percentages and these numbers to make sure that they are completely fair to all. So we have the 40% city radio technician, $31,200. We have an accountant in the finance department that does work related to the system. We have, of course, an IT director and city admin, but we're not adding any costs for those to the participating entities. So we have the annual total of $32,827. The new proposal based on securing the network and providing better response, is to add what we call the NOC, Network Ops Center, and the Secure Ops Center, and the Rapid Response. And those three items together basically give us what's called eyes on glass, especially the first two, which is 24/7 monitoring and being able to tell from Harris technicians and engineers if anything is even beginning to go wrong. We'll become aware of that much sooner in a much more detailed way. Things will be addressed and taken care of sometimes before we even know there was a problem until the next day. But this is that total for those three items, and this is also, again, the next council agenda item for council to consider. So the new numbers factoring in the NOC, SOC, and rapid response, and the other items I'll show you on the last slide, equal from $13 a month. These radios go to $20 a month, and the console and the core access numbers go up, and those numbers would remain constant as we go forward. We're asking the participating entities to pay 70% of the core. We pay the other 30%. That was something of part of the process that we went through with Trout and with L3 Harris, was to make sure we were breaking that down in the proper way for all. And this is that operating cost detail. May be hard to see, but it shows you the radio maintenance in the first column, the NOC addition year by year, the SOC, the rapid response, the device manager, which allows the ability to push out updates, firmware updates, and other types of updates that are needed for all the radios on the system. Indirect cost, as you saw in the earlier slide, and then fiber, redundant fiber to the city tower. That's part of that backbone. And then you have the total on the far right. And again, as we began, what you have before you tonight is a template interlocal agreement. Worked with the city attorney on this, and he was comfortable, if council, assuming council is, in delegating the ability for the city manager to approve future interlocal agreements that follow this template that you would approve tonight. And it took some time to piece it together like this, but we hope that it'll work for all other entities to join into the system through an interlocal agreement. We have that item. Yeah, we're asking that you consider approving the interlocal agreement template, delegate authority to the city manager, and authorize the city manager to execute this agreement with current and future entities, subject to the express terms, connecting to the Granbury Regional Radio Network, and consider adopting ordinance number 25-26, amending Articles 1.50, Section 1.50.800 of the City of Granbury Code of Ordinances Master Fee Schedule to provide for the collection of fees for Granbury Regional Radio Network. And there's a couple of exhibits included with the interlocal agreement. Exhibit A is the updated fee schedule that equals the table that you saw just on the next to last slide. And then we have Exhibit B, which is the definitions of all of those different columns of information, what they mean, what they provide, the NOC, the SOC, the rapid response. That's all in the interlocal agreement now for information purposes. And tonight we also have our IT director, Chris Collins, and we have Tom Murphy from Trout that are both here if there's any technical questions, and I'm happy to answer any follow-up questions as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. I just want to reiterate that this is for the Granbury Regional Radio Network core that we host and we maintain and we're responsible for. The other entities actually have to build towers and do their own thing to be able to tie onto this network. But because we have this network in place, it saves them literally millions of dollars from having to do this on their own. So this is truly a regional approach to a regional problem. And I'm excited that we're able to continue to discuss and fine-tune this and make the system sustainable. Like I said in the opening statement, we're not trying to make money out of this project. We're just trying to break even and have people pay their fair share. As this system continues to grow and more radios are added, there is a potential for monthly savings on each one of those incremental radio costs. However, when they tie onto the core, there's another charge for that through their system that you saw on the table. So just trying to make it real clear and easy and simple to the public as we present this tonight. And hopefully this video that we're making part of this council will be able to be condensed and used and presented to other people to help and educate so people know what their taxpayer money is being spent on. So public safety is a high priority for everyone. We want to take care of our responders, and communication is the best tool we've got to do that.
Absolutely. And that's a very good point, that the numbers are projected to come down, as there's a couple of other entities on the horizon, a couple of counties that are interested, and one is potentially coming on this fall, another in the spring, and all the projections are that would be able to lower these numbers.
And we're trying to get this information out as quickly as possible, should you approve what we're doing, to the other entities that are participating in the program so they can budget for it next year, this budget season in local government. So we need to act quickly. Any questions? We've got great staff here to answer.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Oberdehr?
Michael, the 176,312, is that our part of it that we pay?
That will be what we pay initially, and then we're breaking that up into the overall reimbursements.
So each entity will share in that 176? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead. Mr. Wadley? Go ahead, Mr. Corrigan.
So, I mean, I really only had one question, and I mean, in the scheme of things, it seems rather minor, but this was also brought to my attention by a few people. So, like on the very first column of the new rate calculation, it says the unit totals are, it's 450 between the entities that are currently involved, and the rate being $20 per unit. That comes out to 9,000, and then the report, it says 8,865. And if you take the yearly total and break it down, it's only like $3.60 per unit. But is there a reason for the discrepancy, or am I like?
You're looking at the proposed fee
the
schedule?
new rate calculation, the proposed fee
Where we have the
schedule.
$20 new rates.
Michael, can you put, there he goes, back to whatever, there.
Yeah, not that one.
Not that one, but
If you could go back,
that one.
yeah, that's the new numbers.
Right.
What's the question? I'm sorry.
So when we're looking at the fee schedule, so the unit totals for all the current involved is 450, according to what we have here.
For mobiles,
Right,
For
for
mobile
mobiles.
radios.
So like in that first column, it's $20 per unit, which comes to 9,000. But in our, what we're looking at says 8,865.
Right.
So I don't know if there's
So
a,
that'll be the monthly total, grand total, for that month for the mobile radios that are on the system. And then at the bottom, for over 15 years, you just have that math that takes it to 1.489 million for only mobile. So we just showed it in the spreadsheet that way. If you total all of those going down each column and then all the way across, you get to the 7.881 number, which pays for that 4.5 maintenance fee, 4.5 million in maintenance fees over 15 years, and then it pays for the addition of the NOC, SOC, and rapid response, as well as those other items in that last spreadsheet with the breakdown.
yeah, no, I mean, I get that. I'm just, 450 times 20 is 9,000.
So on the new rate sheet, Michael, you got 450 radios under mobile, and you got times 20, and it says monthly total 8865. So it's a typo, miscalculation or something. Should be 9,000.
Okay. I know that the number of radios was moving around a lot, trying to get the latest and greatest exact number from all the entities, including within Hood County. You have several agencies that are that Hood County takes care of, pays for. EMS is one of them, and some others. Those numbers, I know we're moving around, but it looks like the math may not have indicated that.
Okay. And that's what I was wondering, if it was just a typo, or if maybe there was some ancillary costs in there that weren't being shown on the formulation, or whatever the case may be. So
Yeah, you're correct. The important numbers are that how much for each one, and then
Okay.
we will have a true up before we bill anyone of exactly the number
many
of
radios
radios of
actually
each
have.
kind.
Okay.
Thank you for
that'll work.
mentioning that.
Thank you.
Michael,
Go ahead.
the radio maintenance fee fluctuates up and down. All the other ones just gradually go up, as you would expect in most budgets. But it's like, in year 25, it's 190, 26 is 237, 27, year 2027, it goes back to 195. What makes it fluctuate up and down like that?
Those are the years where it jumps are significant years where you have either a significant upgrade or a replacement of the core on those years, is why those numbers are higher than other years.
They just anticipated that each year what it's going to take.
Yeah, and there's exact years that there will be a replacement. I think it was in year 7 and 14.
Okay. Thank you very much.
That's why those numbers fluctuate.
Other questions? There was in reviewing this earlier, the communication process on what the rate will be coming up next year with next year, whenever a large group comes on board, the rate change at that point in time if it affects the overall cost?
Yes, sir. We have in the interlocal right now, we're at least once a year, we will be updating we do that as part of our budget process in the normal course of things. We look at all of our fees. So these would be fees we would take a look at each year, make sure that they're still fair to all. And then we will also, if we have things like the counties that come on in the fall or in the spring, those would be significant events that would affect us all in a good way, bringing the numbers down. So we would certainly update the fee schedule then as well and come back to council with that.
Okay, good. Yeah. Other questions? No? Do I hear a motion to adopt ordinance number 25-26, which amends Articles 1.5, Section 1.5800 of the City Granbury Code of Ordinance Master Fee Schedule to provide for the collection of fees for the Granbury Regional Network?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Wadley makes a motion. Mr. Oberdehr makes a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no or nay. And that will pass 5-0. Thank you.
We need to do the top part of that.
Okay.
The template.
That's right. Okay. And I'm going to read down here at the bottom. It said we are delegating authority to the city manager. This enables the attached interlocal agreement template to be legally used to reconcile with all participating entities. And the intent is to allow for the city manager to make non-substantive changes to the template agreement as needed for better clarity. Our experience is that Mr. Kaufman covers those non-substantive and substantive issues with the council. So, do I have a motion to approve the interlocal agreement template, delegate authority to the city manager, and authorize the city manager to execute this agreement with current and future entities subject to the express terms connecting to the Granbury Regional Radio Network?
So moved.
Mr. Corrigan?
Second.
Mr. Oberdehr makes a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. That too will pass 6-0. 5-0. You guys. Yeah, there's, what, I got 4 right. Come on. Okay. Mr. Kaufman, we want to move to 7.2. Consider approving the purchase of an additional 24/7, 365 operational security and after-hours maintenance response services from L3 Harris for the Granbury Regional Network, and for an annual cost not to exceed $176,312, and consider adopting ordinance number 25-27, amending the budget for the general fund for fiscal year 2024-25.
I'll turn this over to Mr. Ross again.
Thank you, Chris. City Council. As I said earlier, this effectively delivers what we call eyes on glass, which is a 24/7, 365 monitoring process where somebody is taking a look at our system in real time all the time. And that's what the knock, the SOC, and the rapid response from a response time perspective means. This breaks it out where you have the knock services at $60,012, the SOC is $81,600, and the rapid response services are $34,700 for a grand total not to exceed $176,312. We're asking this evening for council to approve that purchase. Since it is over $50,000, it is in front of you, and it also has a budget amendment as part of it to fund the rest of this year, which are the remaining months in our fiscal year, and that it would be funded in Chris's budget presented to council in full for next year. Happy to answer any questions.
Council, do you have questions about? Okay. No?
So to be clear, this amendment is for $75,000.
Correct.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Right. Because that's for the remainder of this year.
That's the
And
budget
next
amendment.
year's- It'll
Yes.
be included in next year's budget, should it?
The entire amount will be
Okay.
included for next year. That's, as Chris said, simply the budget amendment also for the remaining of this year
Got
to
it.
fund what's left.
Okay. Okay. No other discussion? Do I hear a motion to approve the purchase of additional 24-7-365 operational security and after-hours maintenance response services from L3 Harris for the Granbury Regional Radio Network for an annual cost not to exceed $176,312, and consider adopting and adopt the ordinance number 25-27, amending the budget for the general fund for fiscal year 24-25.
So moved.
Mr. Holland makes a motion.
Second.
Mr. Corrigan seconds. Discussion? No. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. That'll pass 5-0. Thank you. This next one is a public hearing. We'll hear from staff, and then we'll open the public hearing. And any of you would like, just come up, state your name and where you live so that we can get back to you, how we can contact you should we need to. But now we'll go into consider adopting ordinance number 25-39, approving the request of Joe LaCroix for a zoning change from interim holding to light commercial. Property located at 36.02 East US Highway 377. Mr. Kaufman?
Mayor, before I turn it over to our Director of Community Development, I would like to just reference this project is located where all of the folks in this room would recognize where the Field of Flags is hosted. And it's on the back side of the property portion that's highlighted in your, but this goes back to an economic development project we've been working on since before COVID called Project Salsa, if you remember that. And so this is finally entering into the phase where they can actually move forward, I hope. So, Kara, I'll turn it over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. So this site location map, the site is currently zoned interim holding. A plat application has been submitted and moratorium agreement has been in place. And the proposal is to develop a restaurant. You'll see the site is a little bit off of the Highway 377, which will make sense on this next slide here. So the frontage along Highway 377 is already zoned light commercial, which is proposed on the subject property there behind the swath of pink on your map, where the current zoning is IH and the proposal again is light commercial. The proposal meets the standards of the land use, future land use map for office retail. as shown in that red context on your map. And in considerations, these are the considerations to make in a zoning change. This would be allowing the property to be developed with a use that's similar to the properties to the east, which includes the Marshalls and some of the other shopping places and the Take 5 Oil there to the east. The infrastructure is in place, and development will be on city sewer, and the change to light commercial will not result in additional school demand since it's commercial use. There will be a slight change to the overall supply of light commercial. However, that is already planned for in the comprehensive plan. The properties in the area have been established with light commercial types of uses as well as heavy commercial in the area. Again, this would slightly increase the land area of light commercial in the city. And we satisfied the public notice requirements. There were no input either in oppose or in favor of the project. Staff is recommending approval of the request. Your Planning and Zoning Commission also recommended approval. And these are your voting options. Thank you.
Any questions, please ask.
I'm going to go ahead and open a public hearing. If anybody would like to speak on this? One gentleman is coming up. Just give us your name and your address, please.
Mayor, members of council, good evening. Joe LaCroix with Baird Hampton Brown Engineering. We're the civil engineers and surveyors engaged on the project, here representing the developer. Appreciate your time, appreciate staff's time this evening. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay. You're representing the developer?
That's correct, yes, sir.
Okay. So if we have questions, staff, council, go ahead, Mr. Corrigan.
Where is the access from this to this site going to come from? Is it going to come
It'll come from
through the portion in front of it, or
377 frontage, yes, sir.
Okay, so it's not going to come through other existing lots. It's going to have a portion of road through what's not being rezoned today.
The developer is working with the adjacent developer to the right to have a cross-access with kind of the Marshall's development there. That's still, we're working through the engineering plans right now for that.
Okay. I know potentially a little early, so that's what I was asking.
You are planning on a curb cut on 377, correct?
Yes, sir. There's several existing driveways there now. We'll be removing those and adding a single access driveway to 377.
That's great. So as y'all know, the zoning comes before the plating, so here we are. So thank you, Joe.
Okay. Other questions? Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak? Okay. I see no hands, see no one rising. So I'm going to go ahead and close the public part of the meeting. We have a motion to adopt ordinance number 2539, approving the request of Joe LaCroix for a zoning change from interim holding to light commercial, property located 3602 East US Highway 377.
So moved.
Mr. Wadley makes a motion.
Second.
Mr. Elam seconds. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? There being no one opposed, it passes 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Thank you, Garrett. Appreciate it. So we'll see what happens next. All right, number 714, also a public hearing. Consider adopting ordinance number 2540, approving the request of Kevin Flora-Plus to amend the planned development district to add additional recreational activities, pickleball courts, volleyball, fitness center located at 2100 Clubhouse Drive. Mr. Kaufman?
Thank you. I will turn this over. This has been a project in motion for a while, taking basically a swimming pool that was providing no service for more than a decade and putting it, repurposing for recreational purposes at the Harbor Lakes Golf Club. So I'll turn it over to Kara to walk you through the details.
And thank you. The site is approximately 1.1 acres and currently holds PD zoning for the purpose of that pool area, as Mr. Kaufman mentioned. The proposal would be to amend the PD to allow other recreational uses on this site. Again, the current zoning is shown on purple on this map, and the amenities would allow pickleball courts, volleyball, and fitness center with this proposal. Thank you. So the building would be repurposed as a pro shop, restroom storage, and a future fitness center, and there would be 3 pickleball courts in the area where the pool had been.
You get it to click, huh?
No. So here's the site plan showing the 3 pickleball courts and the dark outline sort of to the left of what is the existing pool house to be converted for the pickleball purposes. And these were the considerations for the zoning. The proposal for the additional uses would add 2 residential activities. The change is in an area with existing infrastructure. There was no need for a moratorium agreement. Thank you. And the proposal does not change the number of lots or that type of development intensity. The land has already been developed. This would be a reinvestment in the area. And the proposal would not add to the inventory, would add to the inventory of recreational uses. We did send notice and publish in the newspaper. We received 1 letter in writing in favor and 1 letter in opposition to the request. Staff is recommending approval of the amended PD, and the P&Z Commission also recommended approval. This slide shows you your voting options. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have. Thank you.
Okay. Council, questions? Okay. Kara, I think the only question I have, lighting.
Right. So in review of the Planning and Zoning Commission video, the applicant had made a statement they were not proposing lighting. They were a daylight use, or morning to sundown, and they might be able to speak to that more.
Okay. So, and there's some of the things that will come later after we approve or don't approve this, correct? With plating and other.
So there would be just the construction of the courts and retrofitting of the existing building there.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
Well, this is the only action required by council tonight.
Right.
To rezone it. The rest of it goes through the administrative team for
Right.
permitting and things like that.
Okay. Got it. Questions? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and open the public session. Do we have individuals who would like to speak at this point in time? Come to the front. I don't see anyone. I see no hands. I hear no one, so I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing. So I hear a motion to adopt ordinance number 2540, approving the request of Kevin Floorplus to amend the planned development district to add additional recreational activities, pickleball courts, volleyball fitness center, located at 2100 Clubhouse Drive.
So moved.
Mr. Overdeer makes a motion.
Second.
Mr. Wadley seconds. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. I hear no nays. That will pass 5-0. Thank you, gentlemen.
Congratulations.
Mr. Floorplus. Mr. Brown. Okay, number 7.5. Consider change order number 1 to the 20. This probably won't be the last, will it? Change order number 1 to the 2024-25 street improvement project, Rock Solid Inc., in the amount of $53,366.25 for the replacement of 1,600 feet of concrete curb and gutters with the concrete paving of Gifford Drive, and authorize the city manager to execute the change order. Mr. Kaufman?
Thank you, Mayor. We do have a change order, which is pretty rare for us, but we see a need to address further paving associated with the street. So I'll turn it over to our Assistant Public Works Director, Paul Gast, and let him walk us through this agenda item. Please, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. As you said on this, it is a change order to the previously approved street improvement project for Gifford Street. Part of that proposal was originally just to repave it, and then the option was to go with concrete streets. When we met with the pre-con, when they began looking at it, we realized that going to new concrete streets with old curbs and gutters would, well, look kind of have some aesthetic issues, but also there are some grading issues that the engineer, Chris Hay with EHT, pointed out that would be a good idea to go ahead and replace the gutters, curbs and gutters, along with the paving project. So, then this is for 1,605 feet of curb and gutter, just along Gifford. There is a section of about 150 feet that was done with a previous project just a year or so ago. So that one's not going to be done, but this will match to that existing.
Mayor, you'll notice that there's not a budget amendment for this. We're still within our budget to replace this as previously the $1 million package. Remember, we were less than
Right.
that. So this is still, even replacing these curbs is much lower than the second bid, the second lowest bid. So we're extremely happy to be able to present this tonight.
Very good. And I would comment that in my layman's experience, doing something like this also will prolong the life of that street as well, because of drainage and potholes that just seem to extend all the way across if you don't get them fixed first. Any other comments or questions on this? Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve change order number 1 to the 2024-25 street improvement project to Rock Solid Inc. in the amount of $53,366.25 for the replacement of 1,605 feet of concrete curb and gutters with the concrete paving of Gifford Drive, and authorize the city manager to execute the change order. Mr. Corrigan makes the motion.
Second.
Mr. Elam seconds. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Hear no nays. That too passes 6-0. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, number 7.6. Consider the continuation of the street department mowing single passes or line trimming along certain street rights of way along curbs or sidewalks. Mr. Kaufman.
So this issue has came up a few times with one particular citizen contacting me, and more recently the deputy city manager, because we continue to carry out a practice that's been going on well before I got here 10 years ago. And if you could show that map of a couple of those on Hill Boulevard, on that vacant land, there's a sidewalk that we typically take the mower and mow down the edge of that sidewalk and around the turn to clean that curb up. And it's not like we're spending a lot of time on it, but we do it to keep the sidewalk clear from grass growing up in there. This particular field that we have, they just mowed it. And so it's hard to get people to mow vacant lots, and we send notices to them, and if they don't mow it, then we hire a contractor to go mow it and send them a bill. That's the way the law is laid out. Now, what we're trying to do is be proactive, apparently through history, of making that sidewalk and along that curb line clean with no grass encroaching on the concrete. So that's one example where we've been doing it. Another example is on Plaza East Court. We do the same thing there. And you can see the highlighted area. And I think there's one other along North Plaza Drive. We mow that little strip there. There's also fire hydrants along that way where the grass is tall, if we don't mow that little area. And street signs, we try to weed eat around those to give a good clearance of what's going on. My question to you tonight, and I could turn this over to Michael Ross, he's the one that's been working with Paul Gass to put this together. But I think just for simplicity, you can see we've applied a common sense approach through probably the decades to try to keep our sidewalks clear from encroachment of the grass where it's vacant land, and it's hard to get timely response from mowers. We try to keep the place looking good, especially for our events that come to town. For instance, this week, we're really working hard with TxDOT to get the right-of-ways done this week. We always ask them 60 days ago to start, and their mowers, I hope, come to town this week to clean up our right-of-ways. The project along between Hofbrau and the lake, where Project Lakeview Landing is, their owners were on site today with getting their mowers lined up to mow that right away out to the highway. With all the rain, it's been hard, and it still has water in the bottom of the ditch. But I asked them to do all they could to clean up our community. So this is a step that we take probably every 6 to 8 weeks as needed. If the council doesn't want us to do it this way, we will stop. We're happy either way to comply with what y'all wish, but this recurring citizen bringing it up, very vocal, very upset, very loud tone in many cases. We just need to put it to rest. Last time I talked to him was last year, and I said, look, if you don't like what we're doing, come to the city council during an open meeting and ask the council to consider what we're doing and tell them that you're against what we're doing and let them consider. Well, he called again this year and didn't talk to me. He talked to other folks multiple times. And so I put it on the agenda just to rest this to bed once and for all. Is this what y'all want us to continue to do, or do you want us to stop? I don't care what you tell me to do. I just want to do what y'all want.
Mr. Wadley?
So we're cleaning it up, and what does the citizens complain about?
They think that we should send them a bill for mowing that little strip next to the curb.
The owners of the land.
Yes, sir. In a minute.
If you'll wait just a minute, okay? Faye, if you just wait a minute, we may get there without that, okay?
Again, we're protecting the curb where it's neglected, and with that single pass and fire hydrants that may be in some of those areas. But that's a good point. There's not a sidewalk there, but there's other places that we're doing that don't have a sidewalk either. It's not all sidewalk. It's curb cuts, curb protection. You can see those right there.
And trash gets picked up prior to the mowers hitting all of that as well.
Yeah, we don't mow over trash.
Right. Other comments, questions here? If you go ahead, Mr. Ella.
What is the annual cost to the city on these, approximately, just to eyeball it?
Paul, would you have how much time is spent from the street department doing that on a monthly basis?
On a monthly basis, talking to David, it's maybe 1 to 2 days. Usually with just the quick pass, it's just they take the mower out, one pass on each side, and when it's weed eating or line trimming, they just walk down. It's usually maybe a couple days a month is all that they spend just to dress it up, to keep the grass from growing over the curbs or out into the sidewalk.
And into the street.
Yeah.
2-man days, 4?
I would say 2 to 4 a month during the growing season.
So late May through
Probably July.
Not even August, yeah.
August.
The rain we've had for the last few months, it's growing a lot, so there's been times where they've just gone out and knocked it down. Once it quits mowing, or once it quits growing, then they have no need to go mow.
Yeah. Other comments here? Let's just comment. One of the items that is always on the list when I go to any of the TxDOT or the Tex 21 meetings is pedestrian mobility, and keeping the sidewalks clean, keeping the the brush off the side of the road does provide some pedestrian mobility, and it certainly makes it a heck of a lot safer to be into these areas. And to the point of us keeping these clean, and from a safety standpoint, there is the other aspect of just appearance. And I am one of those people that gets the compliment every day from visitors to this community that say, I don't know how you do it. You keep the streets so clean, you keep the yards clean. And then there are occasions, if we let that go too long, there are other people that will comment on just the exact opposite of the individual that's commenting about how we're using that line. Now, Ms. Landon, did you have other things to add to that?
Microphone.
You'll need to come to the mic, okay? No? You're good. Okay. Other comments, questions? Do I hear a motion from the council that we consider and continue the street department mowing single passes or line trimming along certain street rights of ways and curbs and sidewalks?
So moved.
Mr. Overdeer makes a motion.
Second.
Mr. Corrigan makes a second. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Hey, whose phone's that? I like it.
I think
Perfect
it's,
timing.
I think that's totally appropriate at this point in time.
Hand over your
Yes,
heart.
there you go. There you go. And Ms. Landon, I looked at you to see if that was you, but thank you. All right, we're going to go to 7.7. That passed 5-0. No objection. Review and consider or provide input for the Hood Central Appraisal District preliminary 2026 budget. And I think this is mine? Yes. All right. I wanted just to have a little time with council to make sure that we have all received a copy of the HCAD 2026 budget, and I understand we have. I also wanted to make just sort of an update on the work that I've been doing with the HCAD and that they've been putting up with me on reviewing some of the prior expenditures that have taken place, specifically as it relates to excess funds not being automatically and quickly returned to the entities as required by the tax code. I will say that the HCAD is working with me in particular very well. They have been open, very open, as to what is happening and what their needs are. They have had the auditors and I met just this last week, yeah, it was last week, Wednesday, and reviewed the 2022 and 2023 audit comparisons, which was some of the concern that I had because the 2023 auditor, who is different from the 2022 auditor. 2022 auditor had been there for almost 20 years before the change was made. And so the 23 auditors had to make what I called, from the private industry, they had to make a change. They had to not amend the budget, but they had to update the budget to the accounting process that they were using versus what had been said before. In other words, they restated about $1 million. And as they walked me through that restatement, it was simply a matter of the old auditor just putting everything into one account and not separating out the retirement expenses as is required by the general accounting practices. When those got separated out, it made the accounts look different, but it did not impact the overall viability and stability of the HCAD. It did identify that the HCAD is about $1.8 million over the accrued amount that would have been required to fully fund their retirement program over time. They are currently at 95, Mr. Hafe, do you happen to know, 95% of approval from the Texas TCDRS, Texas County District Retirement System. So the retirement system is very, very happy with the HCAD and the amount that they have retired there. There were a couple of other questions that I had on the audit itself, and one of those involved what was called in the line item a retirement of. I have it here so I can use the exact words, but the construction in progress was retired for $216,952. And I asked, again, I come from the private sector, what is retirement? And their comment was, well, that's dollars that we had no place to put, so they were written off. In other words, there was no capital project approved to put those dollars against. And we, and I say that with the auditors and HCAD, are looking further into what is this $216,000, and we know what it was, but how did this get approved when there was no capital project to apply to the activities that took place? With that said, what I'm really asking for from the council here is to continue, just approval from you, to continue to work with the HCAD on their current budget, which is $2.9 million versus 3.1 roughly last year budget. Now, in 2024, they had a $2.8 million budget, and they are forecasting, or the expenditures are at about 2.6 at this point in time, and that's the unaudited expenses. And the reason that's important to me is if you go back 10 years, for the last 10 years, you will not find the appraisal district budget actual expenditures and discounting any excess funds that they may have taken out, but you will not find the actual expenditures exceeding $2.5 million. So authorizing a $3 million or $2.9 million budget is simply putting $400,000 into the hands of HCADs, out of the hands of the taxpaying public at this point in time, and letting them be your bank and carry it forward. I like the way that our accounting group handles, and if you read the investment report that we have here, that's the way that it should be handled, and it should be maintained at the city, the county, and the school levels. And I know in the past people have said, well, wait a minute, the city's such a small part of that. You know, we're 10% or less. Let's take this and look at it a different way. Those $400,000 that are out there that's being asked for, that I'm contending will not be utilized. I'm contending that without having the conversation with Mr. Law about it. But I'm contending they'll not be utilized as history would say. And those are not city dollars, and 10% of them aren't city dollars. They're everyone taxpayers' dollars. And if you live in the city, you pay city taxes, county taxes, school taxes, road and bridge taxes, library taxes. Proportionally, the city pays more taxes proportionally than any of the other groups. And those are the people that I'm saying, no, we need to be good stewards of the monies that we, whether we're putting it in with the gutters or the concrete roads, or asking a service that out there called HCAD that does the appraisals for us. We need to be, we have fiduciary responsibility for those dollars. And if HCAD comes along September, October this next year, the tax code says submit an amendment 30 days ahead of time, and if it is not disapproved by 3/4 of the taxing entities, then it's an invoice to the taxing entities, and we pay it. So there's a process to get. If they come back and say, oh, this is the year that we're really going to spend $2.8 million on for good cause, then there's a way for them to come back and pretty easily get that. So I'm just asking the council to consider what I'm saying, and I'm consider that, yes, that I'm going to be down there in Mr. Law's office, asking that they modify the budget to some extent, and I'm not going to ask here, here, and here. So that's their business. But they've not been able to spend that money for the last 10 years. Why, what's going to change this coming year? And hopefully we find some areas that we can reduce that budget and reduce the overall expense to the taxpayers.
Mayor, are you seeing in the proposed budget an anticipated capital improvement of something that would justify that extra? Well, it's $8,500 less than $5 million.
Yeah.
Do you see anything?
No, and my conversations with Mr. Law are there is no capital to be considered this year. And then he mentioned, except maybe we've got about 85,000 in here for or 75,000 for a handicap or a handicapped restroom for the public. And my comment on that is, I think you need 175. So it's not just I'm not just looking at, oh, you need to take money out. Let's make sure that the money, is in there if you need it. I don't have a problem with that. If I see you need it, I'm just saying I've seen 10 years of budgets over and above what is actually spent.
Well,
It's either great cost control or a little opportunity in the budget. I'd like to see it up front. Council, any questions of me? Or
I would like to add that the cost to the taxpayers of Granbury, the citizens on our tax roll, that's the difference of $180,000 that we would have to assess in revenue somewhere to offset that cost. And a penny on our tax rate will generate about $220,000. So here we are, budget season, talking about what we may or may not have to do based on what we have to do. But here's the scary part, and you mentioned that. Our citizens also pay the county proportion, and they pay the school proportion, and the library proportion, and the county road tax proportion. Mm-hmm. Now, Toller ISD and those folks, we don't have to cover their percentages, but they're smaller. Our largest partner in this organization is Granbury Independent School District, and they're going to pay about 60% of that $3 million. And,
60, 68.
Yeah. So really it's $5 million. I'm saying 3 because if they were to adopt a $2.5 million budget, I'm doing the bad math here. Let me get this straight. We're talking $500,000, not $5 million times .06. So it's $30,000 in our revenue that we have to collect from somewhere to pay that bill. So if you can trim that, great. But I do want to meet their needs, and I readily accept the fact that they have technology issues, and I'm hoping they're addressing those.
Well, and that's the other thing. Is where are the opportunities in here versus just throwing people at it? And I'm with you. I believe, and again, I'm not going to try and say to Mr. Law, here's what you need to do. I'm not there. I'm just saying I think that there are opportunities. How can we help you reach there? Because this is not it. Yes, it is $30,000 for us, but for the taxpayer back here, it's $500,000. All of it every bit of these funds come from taxpayers. And if we don't stand up and say, what is this? That's our responsibility is to stand up and look at this budget with them and to make sure that the citizens are getting the best deal. I'll go back 10 years ago and ask, the question that says, look, we had a new retirement plan. We were spending $40,000 a year at HCAT on a retirement plan. We went into a new plan. The next year, we budgeted $52,000. That was approved by all of us. There were excess funds that were thrown in there of another $260,000. And this money's spent. It went to the retirement fund. It's where it should be. It's money that you know about. You can find it, and you know something that you got for it. But the next year, we budgeted $75,000, and then the next year, in 2018, the budget was $396,000. The next year, 2019, it was $420,000, and the next was $355,000. Now it's back down in the $175,000 to $200,000 range, which covers the people that are there. So we, city, county, school, approved $396,420. We approved almost $2 million over a 5-year period of time. I think we need to be looking closer at these budgets. It's our responsibility to look at these budgets, and since I've been deep in it, I'm asking the council to understand that I'd like to continue to be deep in it. The HCAD's working. They're working it. I'm not disappointed. Mr. Law and the group over there have made great improvements in their disputes, which is another reason that they may or may not need $150,000 in legal this year. So the progress that they've made, I think, could even reduce some of this expenditure. So I'm sort of like Chris. You can say yes, you can say no, and if you say no, I'm not going to be unhappy. So it's getting old, but I do think that we have a responsibility to dig into the budget and be, as you know, we welcome you people digging into the budget, and I know that there's some people out here that have done that. Thank you. Okay, do we need a motion or?
I think it would clarify your role.
Okay, I would like a motion from the council to approve the mayor to continue to provide input for the Hood County Appraisal District preliminary 2026 budget. And that is a good way to put it, as input, because it's not negative, positive. I happen to think that there's some money to come in there, but input may come back to me that says, no, we need to do more. And if there's good rationale, I'm going to be all for that.
I will make that motion.
Mr. Wadley makes a motion.
Second.
Mr. Hullum seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Come on, guys, come on. All right, that passes 6-0. Thank you. I just wanted to, thank you, 5-0. I almost got out of here. 5-0. Okay, now, we're going to, just for a minute here, recess the regular council meeting and convene a meeting of the Employee Benefits Trust. So I'll now recess the regular city council meeting and convene the City of Granbury Employee Benefits Trust. And it is 7/18, Tuesday, July 1st, 2025. We're at Granbury City Hall, 116 West Bridge Street, and we are have been called to order. And do we have any public comments on these items, Ms. Walker? No? And we have the minutes from June 18, 2024. Hear a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Mr. Wadley makes a motion.
Second.
Corrigan makes a second. All in favor? Aye. Aye. All, that is a passage of 5-0 as well. Then we have the deliberation agenda. Consider approving the city's annual employee health insurance renewal with Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Texas for medical insurance and group life, including voluntary life, short-term disability, and long-term disability. Mr. Kaufman.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an annual event, and we're excited to be able to get it to you at this meeting instead of the next meeting. Thank you, Michael, for putting it on at the last minute when you finally got all the information together. So I'll turn it over to Michael Ross, our Deputy City Manager, to walk us through this agenda item.
Thank you, Chris. City Council. Just a brief explanation on the purpose of the City of Granbury Employee Benefits Trust is that using that entity allows us to get another 1% discount on our overall health insurance, which is, as Chris said, 1% equals big dollars when you're talking about those. It gives us cities that have learned this have all started doing this as part of their process to get that additional savings for their city. But we do have good news this year. The employee medical insurance with Blue Cross Blue Shield is going down. We've had a good year from a claims perspective versus years in the past that weren't quite as good. We're looking at an 8.82% decrease in our fund, and that equals a $222,302 savings, depending on the total participants each year. The utilization has improved, and that's a direct reason for that decrease. The city did also receive other proposals from other carriers. Higginbotham is our broker, and they handle that for us. Michael Parker is here from Higginbotham if there's any questions. But they did receive other proposals, and those were deemed to be inferior overall to the Blue Cross Blue Shield plan that we currently have, the plan design. There's also geographical coverage issues with some of those. Many times you can't get the in-network coverage that you need depending on where our employees live. The city paid group life is recommended to stay with Blue Cross Blue Shield as well. This includes additional voluntary life, short-term disability, long-term disability, and no increase in the premium. Voluntary employee-paid accident and critical illness insurance will remain with Lincoln Financial. The proposed rate for Lincoln Financial is the same as our current premiums with the same benefits. Voluntary employee-paid dental will remain with Blue Cross Blue Shield, and vision insurance will stay with IMED, and both will have no increase. So with that, we ask that you please approve the city's annual employee health insurance renewal with Blue Cross Blue Shield for medical insurance and group life, including voluntary life, short-term disability, and long-term disability. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Michael, could you go through the insurance that the employee actually pays for that the city doesn't, like the dental and whatever else?
Yeah, those are where I put voluntary in front of those. Voluntary employee-paid dental, voluntary employee-paid vision insurance, voluntary employee-paid accident and critical illness. It's kind of the, what's the duck, or the, forget the name of those. They cover the extreme critical illness types of claims, will remain with Lincoln. And the city pays for group life. The city, that's the additional, which includes additional voluntary life, short-term disability, long-term disability with no increase in the premiums. And so health and group life with Blue Cross stay with us. All the rest are voluntary for eye, vision, critical illness, paid accident, employee paid accident.
Okay.
Thanks. I just wanted to make sure that was documented to where it doesn't appear that we're providing that benefit when it's basically just offered to them as an additional benefit they can pay for.
Right. We just go out and hopefully get a much more competitive price for
Right.
them to do voluntarily, to choose from.
Okay. Council, questions? Michael, as I read this, the employee will actually see fewer dollars come out of their paycheck for the portion that they pay.
Yes,
correct?
sir. Yes, sir. That is very true. The 8.82% will apply to what they pay as well.
Great. And when we did the overall, the comprehensive compensation plan, benefits play a part of that, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Retirement benefits, health insurance. We're competing with all the other cities, and up here we're competing with all the other cities in the Metroplex.
Competing with everybody.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. And our turnover over the past couple of years, improving, not improving?
It is improving. Yes, sir. We're still looking for ways based on council's strategic planning goals for us. For staff, we're still looking for ways to make us that employer of choice. Those council's words at strategic planning. And so these are all the things that are part of that. Correct.
Well, it comes to me, turnover says just about everything, because we don't talk about a lot of projects up here that start on Wednesday and get through on Friday. They're long-term continuing projects that need that long-term continuing knowledge, the job knowledge about how we go about getting this done and making these types of things happen. So I think that turnover and reduced turnover, what we do to make sure that we keep our good employees, because you don't lose the bad ones. You keep the good employees. Whatever we're doing to do that, we have to be very competitive. I was pleased to see that not only are we competitive, but we have found, because of the reduced utilization this year, we're able to actually take fewer dollars out of the employee's paycheck. So thank you for working through this for us. I know that's not an easy task.
Michael, you might want to just educate us on the health fair that we have every year and the policy that we implemented for that and how it's paid off to help reduce claims.
Sure. We do have I think, a very active wellness program. We continue to look at that every year. We just recently, this past year, added mental wellness to that overall, to the physical wellness component that we're already doing, because Chris and I, attending conferences, we heard some scary stories about cities and other employers that didn't think about mental wellness, and the repercussions from that in some of those cities scared us. And so we, with Higginbotham's assistance, have also started asking employees to do that side of the equation along with the physical side. And we do have the health fair every year as part of open enrollment, or it's close to open enrollment, where all the employees can come in, and it's paid for under the Blue Cross Blue Shield plan. They can all come in and get their blood taken, blood pressure, other basic tests, and all of that is furnished, that information results is furnished to them, and they can take any other preventative action or actions that are needed from those test results. And it's, from what we hear just comprehensively, it has been beneficial. It catches, the employees are able to catch issues hopefully early on and take care of them, get what they need, proper medicines, things like that they wouldn't otherwise do. We feel so strongly about it that it's mandated. And if you choose not to participate in the annual tests, you have to pay a piece of your 25%, I think, is the number. Don't quote me on that. But there's a number that you have to actually pay out of your pocket. But the city normally pays 100% of employee insurance. So that's the incentive, is you hit them in the pocketbook, because we want 100% participation. We want everyone to take care of themselves, and to, if they have a problem, to get it addressed. That's critical.
And the other side of that is, if the employee just doesn't like the health fair environment, they can go to their doctor and have the same test done for free, covered under our Blue Cross Blue Shield. And we just want to make sure people are getting a checkup. And we provide it on a daily, a 2-day seminar type thing where they roll in, get appointments, and get out. But if they can't make that appointment or they're out of town, the Blue Cross Blue Shield still pays for them to go to the hospital or to go to their doctor of choice that's in the network, and we're taking all those annual tests, and it's paid for 100%, and no copay, anything. So it's a great program that we've been able to roll out. And we've had a bad couple of years, and this year proved to be better. Maybe it's finally catching on. So
hope so. Thank you.
Very good. Council, comments, questions? Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve the city's annual employee health insurance renewal with Blue Cross Blue Shield for medical insurance, group life, including voluntary life, short-term disability, and long-term disability?
So moved.
Mr. Obadiah makes a motion.
Second.
Mr. Oldham seconds. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. I hear no nays, so that will pass 5-0. Okay. No other business on the Employee Benefit Trust agenda. I will go ahead and adjourn that meeting, and we will now move back into the City of Granbury Council meeting. Open that up. We are call to order, and we will start with the first thing is citizen comments on matters not on the agenda, and I have two people who have signed up. One is Mr. Mark Wheeler. Mr. Wheeler, if you'll just come to the podium and announce your name and your address, please.
Yes, sir. My name is Mark Wheeler. I'm 3702 Lonesome Creek Road in Dakota Ranch. I'm here tonight, and first of all, thank you very much for allowing us to get up here and the cohort I have behind me and all these people. I've been asked by this group to simply walk you all through what we feel is a growing and honestly an unaddressed need here in the city, and that's dedicated public pickleball courts. I know it came up earlier tonight at Harbor Lakes, but we're looking at something bigger and grander, I think. I want to start with the need and the purpose of the intention here tonight. The city as a whole, from the governing side and within the master plan, has specific requirements for development within the city that encompass providing adequate park and recreational areas for health and benefits to the community. We understand that this is a very broad brush to paint with, but the city is supposed to provide full recreational fulfillment for every citizen within the city. And in reflection, I think the city has done great things. You know, we have the bike and running trail, we have the skate park, we have multiple cross-use fields throughout the city, we have the disc golf facility, we have the dog park, you know, we could go on and on. They're all very progressive in providing services to the community. But what we have never had is a tennis court and within the city for use for us. And then now we look at the synergy behind pickleball, and we have no public place to play pickleball that the city provided. We look around, and everyone here in this room that is behind me, we see the need. And we all currently play at primarily private access-only establishments. And the problem, as I'm sure you'll understand, is that there is access control to all that. Whether it be a church or the YMCA or a private community courts, we are limited and constrained to where we can play. We tend to bump around and go different places every day. And this is due in part to the schedule conflicts within these organizations, hours of operation, priorities that fall upon the ownership, and really just the limited access that we have available from private access. That in turn also diminishes the player pool to go out, to be active, and to enjoy the game that they truly love. And it's also the fastest growing sport in the United States. We've also been and seen other surrounding communities invest in and construct pickleball complexes throughout our communities. We see this graph here. We have Weatherford, and there's a bunch of other stuff, Paris, Texas, and everything else. They've all constructed these for public use, and we have to go there. I go to Weatherford quite often. I play in Dallas all the time, and I have to go to use those courts. There's tournaments there, and that's why I go. Now some statistics that you all should probably know. We know the Granbury is growing fastly, and maybe too fast for most of us, I would have to say. But right now, a third of our population is over 65, 15% is under 18. Now, that's a wide gap, but more young families are moving here, and working families, I should say, than ever before, I feel. The beauty of pickleball is its wide-ranging playability. The pickleball demographic goes from ages 6 to 65 and plus, sometimes 80, okay? It is truly a multi-generational game. You know, it's one of the games that I personally have seen an 80-year-old play at the Y with her grandkids and her great-grandkids. So it goes across all spectrums. I know I'm over the 3 minutes. I'm going to take one of their time frames, though. To understand the growth of pickleball, it's growing at a rate of over 12% a year. There are around 4 million players as of 2021. They're estimating that to go to 40 million by 2030.
Mr. Wheeler, I am going to give you a little latitude here, but no one else has signed up on the pickleball.
I should have had them all sign up, sir. You're right. I can
could
sit
have.
down if you like.
Yeah. Go ahead.
All right.
Very quickly.
Sure. There's a pro circuit. There's an amateur circuit. We see the need. Here's the big thing. With a modest investment from the city, we see the ability to serve all ages and really focus on those that can't play on private courts. We also see that the promotion of active lifestyles and mental well-being within the community. We also see support of the local economy through tournaments and vendors and community cohesion. We see a profit margin for the city if they can get into this and host tournaments, and the tournaments that would bring multiple people here that would stay in our hotels, and obviously sales tax revenue and everything else. Just a little detail on that. I'll be a little bit more specific. Richmond, Virginia earned $90 million in 2022 from only 96 events. They saw over 250,000 visitors come to their city. West Michigan, they saw $90 million last year from just hosting youth and amateur tournaments. So there is a way to get a revenue stream there. If we look around and we are forward thinking, we can establish a pickleball base here in Granbury that I think can compare to all these other ones, whether it be the 10 courts in Weatherford, the 4 in Lake Worth, or whatever it is.
Okay.
But in conclusion, I'll finish off for you, sir. We feel there is a winning model for Granbury in this project. It will provide a public place for all play for all ages. It will be a destination for people outside of Granbury, and it's long overdue in something that promotes a healthy lifestyle within our community. We urge the board, the city council members, to find a way to budget for a project like this and to design a pickleball complex that can put Granbury on the map as a pickleball destination, just like all the other community events that we host every weekend. So that's what I say. Thank you.
And Mr. Wheeler, you know that we can't make any comments with you tonight, but this is a very open council and city. We encourage an appointment. We sit down and talk through these things with you. But appreciate you coming up and appreciate all of you folks coming in tonight as well.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
But if you would like to get into greater depth, we would certainly welcome you. Calling and setting up an appointment, me, Mr. Kaufman, with staff.
You have time tomorrow, sir?
What's that?
You have time tomorrow, sir?
I might add that we're taking a shot at getting 2 pickleball courts in the new development behind Home Depot. So that's coming, 2 public courts. So it'll be a start. Won't be able to host very many tournaments with that, but be happy to look at your business plan. Holler at me.
Yeah, great.
Thank you for coming tonight, all of y'all.
Mr. Hay?
I'm a big pickleball supporter.
You have 3 minutes, Mr. Hay.
My wife retired to play pickleball.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Mr. City Manager. My name is Richard Hayes. I live at 428 Riverbank Lane here in Granbury. A little over a week ago, some members of the Granbury Volunteer Fire Department attended the annual State Firefighters and Fire Marshals Association Training Convention and Conference. I'd like to give you a few highlights of that event. First, our members presented 3 of the training classes, sharing their expertise with the members statewide. And as with the previous year, I noticed particularly our Chief, Matt Hohan, and our Assistant Chief, Jerry Slaughter, were in constant demand of chiefs and officers of other fire departments, asking for their guidance on how to do training and recruitment and retention, how to make their departments like our department. So Granbury is certainly recognized across the state of having a great volunteer fire department. One of our members, Lieutenant David Lowry, was nominated for Firefighter of the Year for the state of Texas. There were some great nominations, and unfortunately he was not chosen to be the State Firefighter of the Year, but we're proud of him nonetheless. You may recall he was named District Firefighter of the Year a few weeks ago. And finally, our chaplain, Laura Erkenbach, was elected by the members of SFFMA to be the statewide chaplain. And he's going to expand the role of, or he wishes to expand the role of the chaplain to provide more mental health support for firefighters statewide. So that's a brief summary. Thank you for your time.
Okay. And we will be maintaining that 2 rating for insurance, correct? Good. I have no other people that have signed up. So I'm going to go and we will now adjourn into executive session. And we will discuss items 551071, consultation with attorney, probably not tonight. 551072 with deliberation regarding some real property. 551087 deliberation regarding economic development negotiations. So we will now go into executive session. And just want to say thank you. Thank you all for coming. Good afternoon. I now declare that the Granbury City Council is convened into open session. All members except for Mr. Rodriguez are present. We were in closed session. There was no action taken, and all council members, again, except Mr. Rodriguez, are present. Do we have other business?
Mayor,
Mr. Wadley?
I'd like to make a motion that the Granbury City Council approve the letter of support for Project Patriot, including the proposed incentive package, contingent upon annexation of the project site as presented.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Overdeer. Any discussion? Okay. No discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. I hear no nays. That will pass 5-0. Is there other business? Corrigan, no business? Okay. No further business. I now declare that this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.